Now is the time to start manipulating energy, and this is the only video you need to see. You are looking at Kuda Bux. He became famous in the 1930s for his exceptional ability to see flawlessly and even read without using his physical eyes. This ability brought him a lot of attention. Through the 1930s and 1940s, he was a performer in theatrical acts all over the world. He asserted that his ability to see without the use of his eyes was a result of his proficiency in yoga, which he had developed through decades of rigorous practice. In 1945, he stunned the audience by accomplishing the feat of riding a bicycle through New York City's Broadway and Times Square while his head was completely bandaged. He did this while managing the city's heavy traffic. The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar is the title of a short film that was released by Netflix not too long ago. It is based on the story of Kuda Bux. This film is an adaptation of the literary work that was written by Roald Dahl. Throughout the narrative, Kuda Bux is portrayed by the character Imdad Khan, who describes how he was able to acquire his unusual talents, such as seeing with his eyes covered as a result of the teachings of a yogi, to put the power of directed concentration into practice. Imdad Khan, who was actually Kuda Bux, started practicing. During his meditation sessions, he would sit in front of a candle and concentrate on the darkest region of the flame. Before he would close his eyes and concentrate his attention on the mental image of his brother who had passed away, he would close his eyes when his thoughts became completely immersed in contemplation. He had been practicing for months before he was finally able to keep the vision for more than 3 minutes. That was the moment when he started to experience something that was unexpected. Even with his eyes closed, he was able to see. The fact that this movie emphasizes the power of the mind, and more especially the power of focused attention, is one of the things that makes it an interesting movie. In the following few minutes, we are going to delve into the strange power that the mind possesses to change reality. Using techniques ranging from ancient shamanic rites to contemporary quantum physics, we will investigate how everything in our environment is energy and how the ability to manipulate it exists within a hidden skill. Attention that is concentrated. In this lesson, we will investigate how ancient literature such as the Yoga Sutras and Carlos Castaneda's concept of purpose reveal the secret to influencing reality, as well as how the law of attraction and the law of assumption are connected to these same principles. I will share some strong habits with you at the end of the video, as well as a meditation that was inspired by Imdad Khan in order to assist you in harnessing this energy and creating your own reality. People have been speaking about the incredible talents that humans are capable of developing for thousands of years. These abilities are mentioned in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which is an ancient work that is considered to be one of the cornerstones of yoga. These sutras make reference to the fact that the mind is capable of acquiring qualities that are referred to as siddhis, which are also known as supernatural powers, if it is able to perfect concentration and concentrate attention in a precise and consistent manner. Patanjali presents a method known as samyama, which is comprised of 3 stages: concentration, also known as dharana, meditation, also known as dhyana, and samadhi, which is a state of profound absorption. The yogi is able to exert direct influence over the physical and energy world through the utilization of this focused method. During this exercise, it is revealed that it is possible to develop talents that are beyond what is typically considered to be attainable in the physical world. This is accomplished by concentrating on a variety of things or states. In spite of the fact that these abilities are not the ultimate objective of yoga, they are one of the outcomes that follow from learning control over the mind and energy. Siddhis include the power to access former lives, clairvoyance, understanding of the thoughts of others, invisibility, levitation, and mastery over the elements. Some of the more well-known siddhis include these abilities. This is exactly what shamans were able to accomplish when they went into a trance and focused their attention on invoking Mother Earth in order to request rain or other benefits for their people. They employed this power in the same way with the intention of healing those who were sick or finding others who had gone missing. In the writings that Carlos Castaneda, an anthropologist and author, has done on the subject of the shamanic knowledge of Yaqui sorcerers, he has referred to this supernatural act as the purpose. In the works of Castaneda, the term intent refers to a form of energy or volitional force that shamans employ in order to channel their power and consciousness toward a certain goal. When it comes to sorcerers, the purpose is a force that is both inexplicable and incalculable, and it is contained throughout everything that exists in the cosmos. Indeed, it is the power that the entire cosmos is dependent upon. In everything, it is the force that brings everything into focus. It is what causes the world to occur. Intention, desire, and will are the manifestations of this force that are each of us. The energy that is always there is the one that causes us to perceive. A connecting bond makes it possible for everything that exists in the universe to be connected to that force. Living our life without taking into consideration the relationship between the two is the greatest collective failure. The act of perceiving does not itself cause us to become conscious. Rather, it is the pressure and intrusion of the intent that causes us to acquire consciousness. In a similar vein, we have more contemporary procedures, such as remote viewing, being utilized in military research initiatives, such as the Stargate project. And someone who possesses this skill is able to access knowledge about faraway places or occurrences without making use of their bodily senses. For the same reason that shamanic techniques and Patanjali's teachings are founded on the mind's capacity to transcend space-time boundaries. Remote viewing is based on the mind's power to focus attention in an unusual manner. These are only a few examples of just some of the extraordinary things that people are capable of accomplishing when they concentrate their attention and energy in a manner that is both protracted and determined. To gain access to this power, it is not necessary to take the path of a yogi or shaman, or to devote years to the practice of meditation. It is possible that we do not require the development of these amazing powers in our day-to-day lives. According to Patanjali, the ultimate purpose of yoga is not to develop these abilities. However, as we will see in the following section, we may make use of this ability to actualize our desires and maintain our health. What causes these miraculous occurrences, and is it possible for us to make use of this energy to our benefit? There is energy in everything. We are a part of a cosmos that is composed of energy. At its most fundamental level, everything that surrounds us, from the things that we assume to be solid to the most ethereal, is energy that vibrates at a variety of frequencies. It has been demonstrated by quantum physics that the world is not as solid as it appears to be. Energy in the form of probability is the fundamental component of everything that exists on a subatomic scale. There are an endless number of potentials contained inside this field, which is referred to as the quantum field. The reality that we perceive appears to be contingent on which of these potentials we collapse with our attention. The fact that reality is neither static or predefined, but rather a dynamic field of possibilities, is one of the most exciting aspects of this philosophy. When we focus our attention on a certain possibility, we have the ability to impact the likelihood that this possibility will materialize into our actual experience. To put it another way, the act of watching something and concentrating our energy on it has the potential to alter the fundamental nature of the reality that we perceive. It would appear that the human mind, by concentrating on a particular subject, contributes to the selection of which probability come to fruition. Quantum entanglement is a fundamental idea in quantum physics that displays one of the most astonishing and enigmatic properties of the cosmos. This phenomena is similar to quantum entanglement. When two particles get entangled in such a way that their states are correlated, a phenomenon known as quantum entanglement takes place. This means that whatever happens to one particle immediately affects the other particle, regardless of the geographical distance between them, because it shows that on a fundamental level, particles in the cosmos are not separate, but are instead fundamentally related. This phenomena presents a challenge to the conventional view of physics that we have historically held. Despite the fact that this link takes place on a microscopic size, it provides us with a powerful hint that on a quantum level, the entire world is interconnected, and the borders between things, between objects and humans, are much more blurry than they appear to be. At first look, the concept of quantum entanglement not only emphasizes the underlying connectivity of all particles, but it also reaffirms the notion that everything that occurs is connected to one another, and that everything in some way influences everything else. In the process of directing your attention towards something, you are not only directing your thoughts toward that thing or idea, but you are also channeling your energy into that particular potential. This gives the potential greater power and increases the possibility that it will manifest in your reality. The ability to focus one's attention is what gives this power. The power of directed attention and the alignment of our frequency allows us to considerably impact the odds that our wishes will materialize. Although we cannot claim that merely focusing on anything can collapse any possibility from the quantum field, we can state that we have a considerable influence on the likelihood that our intentions will be taken into account. The connection between human awareness and the quantum field is precisely what enables the law of attraction to function when it is put into practice. Having the power to attract what we want is not only dependent on thinking about it, but also on feeling and vibrating at the appropriate frequency. This leads the universe to respond by aligning the circumstances, opportunities, and resources that we want. What we think and feel is what we attract into our lives according to the law of attraction, which states that we are vibrationally connected with what we think and feel. In other words, our own vibration, which is the result of our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, functions like a magnet, drawing events, people, and opportunities that resonate with the same frequency as our own. This law is founded on the notion that the cosmos reacts to the energy that we emit, which is a principle that can be comprehended via the lens of quantum physics. In the process of emitting a particular frequency, we are exerting an influence on the quantum field and directing our attention to a particular potential. This has the effect of increasing the likelihood that the potential will materialize into reality as a result of our observation and concentration. The universe starts to respond to this energy that is consistent with what we want to attract, and as we align ourselves with a good vibration, our wants and goals become more tangible. This is because the universe begins to respond to this energy. On the other hand, one of the difficulties that a lot of people have to deal with is the fact that even if they think positively or visualize what they want, the manifestation of their wishes does not happen right away. In many instances, this occurs as a result of our conscious ideas coming into conflict with deeply rooted subconscious beliefs that restrict our capacity to attract favorable circumstances. In situations like these, the law of assumption, which was conceived of and developed by Neville Goddard, comes into influence. A principle known as the law of assumption states that in order to attract what we want, we must behave as if we have already obtained it, assume that it is ours, and have the feeling that it is already a reality. We are not only bringing our frequency into alignment when we adopt this attitude, but we are also building a reality in our minds that will eventually manifest itself in the physical world. In the same way that the law of attraction works, the simple act of assuming and feeling that you have achieved something creates a tremendous vibration that, just like the law of attraction, draws the circumstances that fit that assumed reality. The connection between these two principles can also be interpreted as a process of vibrational alignment and conscious creation via the lens of this understanding. The law of attraction encourages you to be conscious of the energy that you give out, but the rule of assumption instructs you to live in that energy as if it were already there for you to take possession of. The effect is similar to that of activating an internal frequency that radiates outward. Between what we believe, what we feel, and what we experience, there is a constant flow of information within us. In light of this, when we employ both laws simultaneously, we not only attract what it is that we want, but we also convince ourselves that it is already a part of our reality, which speeds up the process of manifestation. The reality is not the same as it appears. This concept, which holds that our minds and consciousness have an effect on the external world, is also consistent with contemporary theories, such as the biocentrism that was offered by Dr. Robert Lanzer. The concept of awareness as posited by Lanzer is essential to comprehending the fundamental characteristics of the cosmos. He contends that awareness is not something that is created by the universe, but rather that consciousness is what molds and provides life to the universe. This theory also resonates with the holographic universe theory, which suggests that what we believe to be reality may actually be a projection of information that is stored on another plane or dimension. This is analogous to the way that a hologram generates a three-dimensional image from a two-dimensional projection. What we perceive to be reality is, according to this idea, simply a small portion of a huge and intricate web of information, and the way in which we interpret and navigate that hologram is largely determined by the role that our awareness plays, the power of attention. In order to project a hologram, a concentrated beam of light, such as a laser, is required. This is necessary in order to achieve the desired effect. This is what makes it possible for the hidden image to be disclosed and to be given a shape that is three-dimensional. By the same token, our attention operates in a manner analogous to that focused beam of light. When we direct our attention in a precise and consistent manner to a certain facet of reality, we are shedding light on that possibility within the quantum hologram, so giving it form and projection in the world that we are able to perceive. In the same way that a laser transmits the hologram with precision and specificity, our focused attention is what activates and materializes particular probabilities out of all the possibilities. Through the deliberate manipulation of our mental energy, we are able to project our own personal reality and get access to various iterations of the quantum hologram. In proportion to the degree to which our attention is concentrated, the experience that we collapse from the quantum field becomes more distinct and substantial. The essential component in managing energy. As was previously discussed, energy may be found in every location. Everything that can be perceived in our world is made up of and surrounded by that underlying energy. There were a variety of names used by ancient cultures to characterize it. Some people in Japan referred to it as ki, while others in China named it chi. Others in India called it prana, and the ancient Greeks called it ether. All of these terms are different ways of referring to the same material, which is that all-pervasive life force that in its most fundamental form comes before matter. Through the application of methods and practices that have been established over the course of millennia, we are able to acquire the ability to regulate, direct, and interact with this subtle energy. Chakras are energy centers that are recognized in several practices including yoga, qigong tai chi, and others. These practices acknowledge the existence of chakras in the body. These centers function as energetic vortices that regulate the flow of energy on all levels, including the physical, the cerebral, and the spiritual. Every chakra is associated with a distinct facet of our lives and well-being, ranging from the root chakra, which is responsible for our basic safety, to the crown chakra, which is responsible for our spiritual connection. Increasing and redirecting vital energy throughout the body can be accomplished via the practice of meditation, aware breathing, and attention on specific energetic centers. This will result in the chakras being in a state of balance and will allow energy to flow freely. As we can see, the most important aspect of this entire process is paying attention to what is going on. In order to access the flow of energy, whether it is for the purpose of activating the chakras or performing healings with our hands, the ability to concentrate our minds is what unlocks the flow. When energy flows through our chakras in a way that is both abundant and balanced, we experience a state of higher vigor, well-being, and mental clarity. This flow of energy not only gives us the ability to be physically active, but it also gives us a greater capacity for creative expression. When we acquire the ability to deliberately channel this energy, we will be able to put it to use in order to attract our wants and accomplish our objectives. As a matter of fact, numerous spiritual traditions say that our capacity for creation grows as energy flows freely through our bodies and minds. This is something that can be easily verified by performing some breathing cycles. Attempt to take a deep breath in, allowing your lungs and abdomen to fill, and then expel without any difficulty. You should take 30 deep breaths quickly, allowing the air to escape naturally, and then you should fill yourself back up. When you have finished exhaling, try to hold your breath for as long as you can without taking a breath in. First, take a long, deep breath in, and then proceed to breathe normally when you feel the urge to breathe. Wim Hof is well known for his life philosophy and for pushing his body to its limits with breathing exercises and immersion in cold water. This technique is known as Wim Hof breathing. In the event that you perform 2 or 3 cycles of this breathing, there is a significant possibility that creative ideas will suddenly come to your head. When prana, also known as energy, moves through your body in a swift and efficient manner, your creative output will rise. To your surprise, give it a shot. Take precautions to avoid having your energy depleted. On the other hand, just as there are routines and practices that improve our capacity to channel this energy, there are also elements that prohibit us from making efficient use of it, which in turn depletes our stores. An example of a physical habit that might impede the flow of energy and lead to imbalances is a bad diet, a lack of sleep, or a lifestyle that is characterized by a lack of physical activity. On top of that, negative mental and emotional habits, such as persistent negative emotions, obsessive thoughts, or chronic stress, can function as blockers of energy, stopping it from circulating in the appropriate manner. We live in a time where our attention is constantly being diverted, and this is especially true when we spend a significant amount of time on social media watching one video after another without any discernible goal or objective. The overexposure of our thoughts to stimuli that are both quick and transitory, such as reels or stories, has a direct impact on our mental processes. We have a diminished capacity for maintaining our attention over time. Our brain is being trained to seek instant reward and to avoid any extended effort of attention whenever we switch from one video to another without reflecting or deeply focusing on anything. This is occurring every time we flip from one video to another. This never-ending barrage of information is most certainly not the result of random chance. A much more profound and covert objective lurks behind these platforms and their structure, and that objective is to undermine our capacity to concentrate our attention. How come? Mainly due to the fact that when our attention is dispersed and unstable, our capacity to consciously shape our reality is not only damaged but also diminished. Our ability to direct our energy toward the potentials that we desire to materialize is accomplished through the application of focused attention. Our ability to control the reality that we are creating is diminished when our attention is fragmented and we give up control of our daily experience to forces that come from the outside. We tend to fall into cycles of distraction and negativity, which makes it easier for others to impose their own agendas and construct global reality in the manner that they see appropriate. Instead of focusing our attention on our objectives, aspirations, and personal growth, we fall into destructive cycles. By preventing our energy from being depleted by negative ideas and feelings, we maximize the amount of energy that is accessible to us in order to bring about the reality that we want. We have the ability to refocus our attention in order to project the life that we want, rather than wasting hours by consuming negative news or distracting ourselves with information or acts that have no purpose. The more we concentrate on this vision, the more the reality that we envision will become realized in the here and now. Through the utilization of the laws of attraction and assumption, we are able to direct our thoughts toward the life that we desire, so allowing us to feel it as a component of our present. This in turn enables us to align ourselves with that life and ensure that it becomes increasingly real in our experience. Without a doubt, our actions ought to be in accordance with our thinking. It is of the utmost importance to act in a consistent manner, making decisions and carrying out activities that uphold the vision of the life that we wish to bring into existence. In order to properly materialize our reality, it is vital that our thoughts, feelings, and actions are consistent with one another. It is vital to adopt practices that consistently strengthen both the body and the mind, and not just during meditation, in order to maintain the integrity of our energy and to ensure that our bodies are also equipped to channel it. Manifestation practice. And as a final thought, I will leave you with a practice that was influenced by one that Imdad Khan conducted in the film about Kuda Bux's life. Make sure the flame is approximately 40 centimeters away from you and at eye level when you are seated comfortably in front of a candle. Carefully observe the flame in question. When you look closely, you will note that it typically consists of three distinct components: a brighter yellow region on the circumference, a blue core at the base, and a darker center. Put your attention on the core of the flame and let your vision to settle on it until it is the only thing that exists in your thoughts. Continue doing this until you become one with what you are viewing. In the event that you do not possess a candle or would rather employ another object, you are free to make use of anything that assists you in concentrating, such as a figure or a plant. It is possible that thoughts will come to you while you continue to keep your concentration, or that your sight will want to move away from the object. When anything like this occurs, you should simply focus all of your attention on what you are watching and ignore everything else on the scene. Your mind will gradually become more relaxed and will be able to concentrate entirely on the flame or the object that you have selected. When you have reached a state of mental concentration and calmness, close your eyes and picture yourself in the position that you want to achieve. You can have a certain objective in mind, a characteristic that you would like to cultivate, or any other desire that you have. Imagine for a moment that you are existing there. Have the experience of feeling the emotions that you would go through. Listen to what the people around you would say and picture every aspect of the situation. Remember that the most essential thing is to concentrate on the feeling and the sensation of having already accomplished what you wanted to do. You should give yourself some time to mentally recreate the picture, and when you feel ready, you should gradually emerge from the vision, making an effort to keep that sensation for as long as you possibly can. Every time you remember something throughout the day, bring your attention back to that sensation, which is similar to the sensation of someone being aware of something in their life that they genuinely cherish and appreciate. I have previously explained to you that you can perform 3 cycles of Wim Hof breathing before beginning the candle concentration. This is something that you can accomplish. Because of this, you will be able to do a mental and physical reset, which will better prepare you to begin the meditation and visualization process. My finest intentions and full concentration were put into creating today's video, which comes to a close now. My goal is that you have found this information to be both beneficial and enlightening. We are extremely grateful that you stayed to the very end. Have a good time.